You're going to die. Not today, probably not tomorrow, but someday you'll run out of time and everything you're doing right now will be over. So the question isn't whether you'll die. The question is whether you actually lived. Most people never figure out the answer until it's too late. The ancient Greeks called it eudaimonia, not happiness, flourishing, becoming who you're capable of becoming. But somewhere between ancient Athens and right now, we lost the plot. Today, we confuse living with surviving. Here's what's wild. Your brain wasn't designed for this life. You're running Stone Age hardware on a civilization built for productivity and consumption. Your attention is designed to notice danger in your immediate environment, but instead you're scrolling through strangers' highlights. Your desire system evolved to motivate you toward food, shelter, and belonging. But now you're chasing notifications and things you don't need. Have you ever wondered why success doesn't satisfy the way you thought it would? The psychiatrist Viktor Frankl survived the Nazi concentration camps. He was stripped of everything, but he made a discovery that most of us never make in our comfortable lives. He realized that the one thing that could never be taken from him was his freedom to choose his response. He could choose what his suffering meant. When he wrote Man's Search for Meaning, he argued that the primary human motivation isn't happiness. It's meaning. You don't wake up wanting to be happy. You wake up wanting to matter. You want your time on Earth to add up to something. This is why a person can be comfortable and still feel empty. This is why achievement alone never satisfies. You can get the job, the money, the partner, the house, and still feel like you're not actually living, because comfort and security are not the same as meaning. So what creates meaning? Researchers have found something consistent. Meaning comes from three places. First, contribution, from adding something to the world that wouldn't exist without you. The teacher who changes a student, the parent who stays patient, the person who admits they were wrong and changes. These are the moments that add up to a life. Second, meaning comes from real connection, not the kind you're building on your phone. Real meaning comes from being genuinely known by other people. The psychologist Barbara Fredrickson studied what she calls positivity resonance. She found that when two people are truly present, their heart rates synchronize, and that synchrony is where humans feel most alive. Third, meaning comes from growth, not the kind measured by salary or followers. Real growth is internal. It's becoming more capable, more honest, more compassionate than you were before. It's facing something difficult and discovering you're more resilient than you thought. The psychologist studied what she calls a growth mindset. She found that people who believe they can develop don't avoid challenges, they run toward them, because challenges are where the actual living happens. Here's the problem, though. None of these fit neatly into your calendar. They don't produce immediate results. Contributing to someone else's life might take months or years before you see the payoff. Building real connection means saying no to efficiency. Growing means failing repeatedly. So our culture has largely abandoned meaning and replaced it with comfort and endless entertainment. But then something happens. You hit 30 or 40, or someone you love dies. Or you wake up one day and realize you've been working toward a future you don't actually want. And suddenly, the question becomes impossible to ignore. How do I actually live? The people who have figured this out, they built themselves around internal markers, not external ones. They know what they value. They know that they have limited time and that every choice is also a no. Every yes is a no. If you say yes to a career, you're saying no to free time. If you say yes to raising children, you're saying no to spontaneity. You cannot live every possible life. You have to choose a life. And as long as you're waiting for permission or certainty before you choose, you're not actually living, you're waiting. But the people who actually live, they choose something that matters to them, something that scares them a little, and then they commit completely in this moment for this season of life. What's wild is that once you commit to something real, something shifts. You stop measuring your life in likes and validation. You start measuring your life in actual lived experience. Did I show up? Did I try? Did I love? Did I learn? Did I help? The ancient Stoic Marcus Aurelius was one of the most powerful men who ever lived, but his private journals show a man constantly struggling with vanity, with laziness, with the temptation to give up on his values when it would be easier. He didn't achieve some perfect state where he never had to try again. He just kept choosing every day, every moment. He kept choosing to show up as the person he wanted to be. The living life is the one where you've aligned your daily choices with your actual values. It's the one where you can look at how you spend your time and recognize yourself in it. It's the one where the person you're becoming is the person you intended to become, not the person circumstance made you into, not the person your parents hoped you'd be, not the person social media told you to be, the person you actually chose. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control what you make it mean. You can't control whether people love you, but you can control whether you love them. You can't control whether you succeed, but you can control whether you try. So the answer to how to live isn't a destination, it's a practice. It's a commitment to choosing meaning over comfort, even when comfort is easier. It's choosing connection over efficiency. It's choosing growth over certainty. You're going to die, and that's the one true thing you know about yourself. So the real question isn't how to live. The real question is whether you're brave enough to stop waiting and start choosing, right now, with the life you actually have.